What's going on? This is Apeshit Larry coming in with the second ever Drunken Wrestlers 2 Pro League Fighter interview. Watched back the first one, had a few things I wanted to improve on. Hopefully we're going to have a cleaner final product here. I'm going to try to do no cuts this time because I know there was a lot of jarring transitions. So we're going to try to keep it clean this time. First I want to introduce our illustrious guest, the former Drunken Wrestlers 2 Pro League European Champion Weewarrior. We'll get into his resume in a bit here, but I want to start by asking him how he's doing today.
Good, I'm good.
Fantastic. Glad to hear. Let's take it all the way back to the beginning here. I want to find out how Weewarrior got into Drunken Wrestlers 2. How did you find this game, and what made you stick around at first?
Yeah, so I found it like, I want to say like 2019, 2020 on my old laptop. Just looking for stupid fighting games. Didn't play much of it, my PC could barely even run it to be honest at that stage. And then I get back in the game.
Free games on Steam?
It was honestly that long ago, I can't even remember. I probably did do something like that, yeah. But my laptop was like, it was chugging even trying to run that at that stage. So I got a proper PC and then I get back in the game in like summer 2021. Played it here and there, and then March, April 2022 is where I properly get into like the Discord and stuff and started playing the game a lot more often.
Yeah, and when you came into the game, into the Discord, started getting active, I'd say you got pretty good pretty fast, and I think an important part of the story of how quickly you became a good player when you really committed to the game is the story of DWO. How did you end up finding out about DWO and the Pro League in general? What did you think about the idea of different training camps for a UFC-style fight league and a free unity fighting game? And what did you think about it at first? What got you into DWO? Who scouted you to BDK?
Well, when you say like stuff about talk about free unity fighting games, I just want to add, like, I got on the Discord. I think Pablo was like beefing grimy, and like someone slid into my DM saying, "Oh, you better not be slabbering about Slime Gang," and I'm like, "There's no way people take this seriously." And it wasn't that long before I'd been completely brain rotted and taking it as seriously as them. But DWO, me and Jones actually had like a sort of casual but not really 1v1 in the streets because we were talking shit in Discord. BDK set it up with him and a few other DW guys. I think he beat me like 3-1, and then it would have been probably a few weeks after that. I was in the public VC when you it, and he was talking about DW, and I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a team I'm in," and I was like, "Can I join it?" And then he asked probably BDK or Cheeky or someone, and they just put me in, and that was it. Pretty easy trying to get in.
So you get onto the Discord.
This is the point where DW were having like half the active player base in their team, yeah. So.
Yeah, you came in around that time with Chicky and Motley and them. Although I know Motley was only on the team for a brief moment, but overall, when you get into the game, when you get into DWO, you got pretty damn good pretty fast. And what do you think the reason for that? Is it a natural aptitude? Was it iron sharpening iron in the training cage of Drunken Wrestlers or Drunken World Order? I mean, what made you get so good so quick? 'Cause I don't think DWO was really training like that back in the day, were they?
No, we were just training in like the map, the DW map on that big platform, and we were just sort of having like friendly spars and stuff in there. I can't remember how I found out about PL, probably just through word of mouth, and then I started sparring with Gandhi on, the Kev's 1v1 map, and we were doing a little bit of messing around with the PL rules there, and he was explaining all the point system to me and stuff. I was already about level 50 at this point, so I was, I wasn't a stranger to the game at a stage for sure, so I was like, "Oh, let me have my first PL fight then." So yeah, it was mostly just casual training leading up to my first PL fight. In terms of natural aptitude, I would really have to say you're probably right, because it's not like I've never been known to be good at any shooters or anything. So yeah, it must be part of that as well.
So the DWO era didn't last too long with you. However, I would say from what I remember, by the end of your stint as a DWO player going into creating Weverse, you were probably already the strongest player on the DWO roster, and you were already rising to European title contention, weren't you?
Yeah, I would have just lost to Hawk, if I can remember correctly.
Oh wow, yeah.
The first time, yeah.
So, did that have something to do with the Weverse, with the DWO abandonment
No.
and the creation of Weverse? How did that come to be?
No, because it wasn't like I thought was going to get better training in my own team or anything. I just thought I'd been in DW long enough, and I just kind of wanted to branch out and do my own thing. And obviously DW was well, maybe not so much back then, but definitely now it's more of an American team as well. So I just sort of wanted to branch off and see if I could create my own gang at that stage. Honestly, purely out of boredom. It wasn't anything against those guys.
Before we move on from Team Lore, I gotta ask, are there any insider Weverse stories that we don't know about that you're at liberty to share right now?
Oh, there's been that much lore, Larry, to be honest. I actually left the old servers in my old break. If I had knew you were going to ask me this, I would have probably went back and seen if I could have found something. I mean, we could talk about the Chaos versus Weaver stuff later. I would say that's plenty of lore involved in that.
I mean, we can get into that now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that whole? For people who don't know, give a very brief, because I don't want to stay on this for too long, but give a very brief breakdown of that and the role you played.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think what even spurred it on. I'm trying to remember. Was it one of the Russians? I posted a TikTok link basically in DW2 chat, and I didn't realize that it references you to someone's full profile when you do that. So they were able to find out my face, and then they were able to, I guess, back engineer it to find my Instagram and everything. They didn't play all my shit was private, but they were able to find out what it looked like anyway. Because obviously my face was leaked before by a disenfranchised IRL, but this was like introducing it to a new audience of people, which were all the Russian free cammers. So they went mad wild with it, and then I just declared war on Fess, and we decided, okay, we've got Weavers here, but let's change it to something to better suit fighting Chaos. And we came up with Order because it's obviously the antithesis of Chaos.
And you know, we've seen other conflicts that were similar since then. However, before then, the only faction beef there was DWO and BBK in the Pro League. And it never really spilled out into the streets, so it's kind of interesting how that happened. And a lot of people resent you about it to this day, clearly, considering how every player in the game decided to unite against BBK the moment you joined, just because they hate you that much, even though we were still like 5 active players, even with your entire roster joining us.
Laurie, all that kicked off about a year and a half ago when I joined the lobby the other day and some random Russian was saying Megamind. So, I mean, I didn't even know who this guy was. So, you're definitely right, said it's still lingering to this day.
Speaking of you joining BBK, I mean, it's pretty evident why it happened, just because obviously we both agreed that both of our teams were kind of dead in the water, if you want to say. There was just no active players around, so I'm not really going to ask you why that came to be, because it's very clear why we did it. Both teams were dead, so the teams came together. But I guess what I want to ask you about that whole situation and the quote-unquote alliance against us and everything. Now on Wednesday, July 23rd, year of our Lord 2025, at 1 p.m. Central Time, where do you think, what's your overview of the political landscape of Drunken Wrestlers 2 right now?
It all seems pretty calm right now since I've come back. Everyone's kind of more worried about the prize than fighting, to be honest.
About Bozeman gang, really.
Yeah, I mean, I completely missed that whole thing, so...
We're not even going to bother explaining that right now. There's plenty more to talk about. So that really covers everything as it pertains to lore, origin story, and overall, just lore of the Pro League, the teams. But what we haven't gotten into is your Pro League record.
Yep.
And specifically talking about your pro league career, obviously the former champion. Let me pull up your page right here and give a brief overview of where you've progressed since you've joined the pro league. So we go back to, oh, that hyperlink didn't work. There we go. Your very first fight, DW2PL Fight Night number 17, which would have been probably 2022, probably early 2022, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, early 2022. You beat Spooky Bane, then Zavis, then Bigfoot, then Names Nick, who I believe is also referred to as natural. Yeah, Names Nick is natural.
Yeah.
Then Oleg, then Austin, then Schnookums, and then in DW2PL number 8 at 7-0, you fight Hawk 152 on a 7-fight win streak for the European Championship, and you fall short by about 100 points. I mean, however many years later, how do you reflect on that fight? And
did you say 1,500 points?
6,853 to 9,102. Oh, that's...
Yeah, he beat me up way worse than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I was trying
so...
to do some quick math.
Yeah, he got me good that time. For sure.
Are there any... I guess the easiest question to ask here is, what was the biggest lesson that you took out of that fight? Do you think you were pushed too quickly, and what do you think you needed to do different to be better than Hawk on that night, or did you just simply not have enough experience under your belt?
I just didn't have enough experience. I was too green. Still too green. Because if you think about, obviously, the Austin fight and the Schnookums fight, I mean, yeah, I'm beating these tough guys, but, you know, I'm going life and death with them even still. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
Hawk's a different sort of thing, you know, he's going to expose your weakness. And even that fight was still very close until the last, even like the less than the last 10 minutes, and then he kind of just stayed more composed than me, and then sort of tore me apart from that last sort of less than 10 minutes of the fight, for sure. And I sort of was definitely a bit feeling the pressure, because I think I had like 7 block spams in that fight, which is a hell of a lot, obviously. So I was definitely feeling the pressure.
After that happens, you fight Bologniers, you win by like 150 points.
Yeah.
It's very, very close. Let me actually hop and spectate right now. So you're just staring at me. Stare at nothing. Now I'm spectating you beat this guy's ass off. So there we go.
And just to add, that Bologniers fight, like that's a fight I was losing as well. Like he was essentially outclassing me and just walking me on the head kicks for like the first 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was
and
fun.
I kind of got like I got a tight little spin hook and was able to kind of even it up and just pull it from the jaws of the feet. But
I like how you remember that specific moment. You have in your career total 25 fights over the span of about 3 years, and you remember the specific moment in your 9th fight.
Yep.
That you ended up coming back, and then
and that's only in a year. I think I've 3 global fights, right?
Global fights?
Yeah, I think I've got 3 of those too.
I'm just looking at the EU page right now. We can talk about
Got you.
So,
no, yeah.
Fight Night 23, you beat Bologniers. Was your first quote-unquote retirement after that, or was that after, that was right after you got the championship is when you retired, right?
I retired just before the servers went down for the first time, if you recall.
Well,
so that would have been like
I don't have dates.
So that's kind of negligible because the servers went down pretty shortly after this anyway.
It is a big part of the narrative, though.
It is, yeah. So it would have been
because we had EU tournament. So Bologniers Fight Night 23. Then EU tournament number 3 happens, and you won the entire tournament. You start with Webb. You beat Riku, Schnookums, Hawk, Bologniers. That's the entire tournament. Bologniers was the final. You beat Hawk in the semifinals, I think it was, and then Ballo in the grand finals.
Yeah.
So then after that is DW2PL number 10, where you defend against Hawk in the trilogy fight. And then after that is DW2PL EU Tournament number 4. And I think somewhere between Tournament 3 and Tournament 4 must be where you retired.
Yeah, so I retired after I beat Hawk the third time. I retired on the night.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I announced it on the stream. So, because just for the people who don't know, like the build up to sort of rivalry between me and BBK, etc.
Oh yeah, we hated you because you kept beating all my guys. Austin, Schnookums, Ballo, Hawk, Gandhi. You beat all my guys.
Sorry.
Was that? It seems he stepped away for a second, but I really, really don't want to edit this. So, because we already tried this once and he had to step away and he never came back. So I'm actually going to spawn myself in here and fight a little bit. I don't know if it's quite appropriate to make comments about his record in an interview when he's not here, but I mean, that EU tournament number 3 run was something to behold.
Sorry about that quick phone call.
Alright, he's back. So, the last note I kind of wanted to make about the EU tournament 3, insane run, crazy how you came in and took it all. You made whatever adjustments you needed to make. It's not about what adjustments you made. It says you got so much more experience and so much better after that first Hawk loss.
Yeah.
That EU Tournament 3, you came in and you were on top. It turned out that was the moment that you hit the top. And then EU Tournament 4, that was very recent history, so we can get into that in a second. But last thing I wanted to say was that Riku fight. People expected you to maul Riku, and it was within 60 points. And it wasn't your first fight of the tournament either. It was your second fight of the tournament. How did that happen?
So, for that fight, Riku's got a weird style. It was throwing me off. I was actually up by like 1,000 points at one stage in that fight. But I think definitely subconsciously, because Uber at the time had put on like he was going to give me money if I like gapped Riku by a certain amount. And that might have subconsciously like kind of made me fight kind of reckless, to be honest. And I started walking into his counters, which he has decent counters. And it made I honestly just the way I fought made the fight way closer than it ever needed to be. Because obviously I went on to beat Hawk after that, so
right.
Yeah.
At the time, I think no, that was actually the performance that got Riku into BBK. And at the time, well, we still all despised you, of course, and I really, really wanted you to lose that tournament. So I just think it's a really funny note that the only guy that really came close to taking you out in that tournament, we ended up inviting him to BBK just for almost embarrassing you. It was a real good underdog performance. But anyway, going on past EU Tournament 3, you defended your belt against Hawk.
Wait. Sorry you might have to cut. You don't want to ask about the second Hawk fight?
Talk about it.
Probably, where would you rank that in terms of fights?
Oh fuck, you're right. I can't believe I was gonna glaze over that. Yeah, I freaked out. If you guys go back and you watch the second fight, and that's between we and Hawk. So to set up the context, at that point in Hawk's career, he had 2 losses. Both of them he had immediately avenged. It was Shusky when he took Hawk's belt in the second European tournament, and then it was Schnookums when he took Hawk's belt in between the second and third European tournament. Other than that, Hawk is undefeated. He's the GOAT of the game. There's no question. Nobody is questioning it. And Wee was one of the hottest contenders, but he got beaten by Hawk back in DW2PL number 8, which even at the time of EU Tournament 3 would have been a couple events ago. But regardless, Hawk is on top. But Wee comes in, he's playing so hot throughout that tournament bracket. He's just racking him up. Things look scary at the Riku fight, but he ended up pulling through. when they stepped in that cage together, when I'm telling you this was one of the most important and legacy-defining fights in the history of the Pro League, I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. The tension was palpable, the stakes were as high as they could have been. Hawk either cements himself permanent GOAT status, or we finally becomes the first guy. Okay, he wouldn't be the first guy to beat Hawk, fighting him a second time.
Yep.
Nobody else had ever beaten Hawk the second time. Some had beaten him the first. We didn't beat him the first, but nobody had beaten him the second. And we comes in, it is a nail biter the whole way through. I'm screaming the entire fight. It is so tense. I mean, what's going through your head in such a legacy-defining, you know, McGregor versus it's the McGregor-Aldo of drunken wrestlers too. How did you feel about that, and how intense in real life, in your body, in your skin, in person, was that for you?
Because the night before the fight, I was on my phone in work, and you were posting memes like, oh yeah, we versus the BBK Royal Guard, you're never going to beat Hawk, you're just guarding his back gate.
Yep.
And I was thinking, fuck, I can't lose to this guy again, can I? And even Pew was getting some stick as well. Everybody was getting it, there was a Weaverse, so the fight comes around, and obviously the fight's an absolute war. I mean, I took the lead at the start, then he got it back, then he took the lead, then I got it back. I mean, and then he's up by like 200 points, maybe even more. And there's like 10, 15 seconds left. And I beat him into overextended, and I just kill him with a critical step hook, and that just secures me just enough points to win. It was crazy. Like, I was saying shit out loud and stuff during that fight.
I suggest you all, and you know what, I'll try to remember to link it in the description of this video too. I want you all to go check that out. I mean, it was just a fantastic. It was something, you had to be there. You just had to be there. Also, I'm gonna start doing this in Pro League videos. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I feel so weird saying that, but apparently you're supposed to. Anyway, we're kind of dragging on a bit here, so I want to get into your recent career since you've come back to the game. You did kind of just retire, but we're not even going to talk about that because it really wasn't a retirement.
Yeah.
So going back to DW2PL EU Tournament number 4, you had never lost the belt. You had handed the belt away.
Yeah.
You had retired with the championship. So EU Tournament number 4 comes in, and Pew and Fettis and Jab had become the guys in your absence in the dark ages of Pro League, when we're funding the servers every other month, and you know, Ukraine-Russia war is fucking up Oleg, and Oleg's needing to find his way out of the country. We're telling him to stash himself on a fishing boat. That's all something we can get into in another day when we have a bit more time. But we was the man when he left, but there was a few new guys in the scene, and we didn't know how they were going to stack up. But frankly, I think most people expected we to come back and at the very least be competitive with. There was no Fettis or Jab in this tournament. It was just Pew. Pew was the guy already at this point, even though he just didn't have the belt yet. But just as expected, you went through everybody else. Oleg, Riku, Flash, Shusky, Austin, Praise. Smoked them all in that tournament. However, Pew knocked you out of the winner's bracket in your very second tournament fight. And then, by about 300 points, edges you out in the grand finals and takes that belt. I mean, how did that feel? How did you feel before the first fight you had with him in the winner's bracket, after that, and then going into those grand finals?
Yeah, so I definitely had the sneaking suspicion that he would beat me, just based on, obviously, Pew's actually a student of mine. We obviously used to train and stuff, and just knew how good he was from having so much sparring with him. And he just had the right style and set of abilities just to I guess, nullify me and, you know, edge me out just enough to, I guess, beat me on those days, on both those days. He just played better than me, plain and simple.
Let it be known, you were violently hungover in the grand finals. Violently.
Yeah, I did have to go to bed before I had my. I mean, I think I fought was it like 6 times in the second day. I had to actually go to bed and sleep it off for a bit.
And for context about where we're at in the Pro League at the time of this interview, since we left, Jab kind of jumped in front of the line, even though we recently beat Jab, which we'll talk about in a second. But regardless, Jab is fighting in a couple days Pew for the European belt. He already lost to Pew for the Global Championship. Wee is coming back here and just straight away is kind of back in contention already because he beat Glocum, which again we're going to get into in a second. But basically that is all to say, keep in mind the narrative going into the next few Pro League events is Wee is making his way back to that European title, and the last time he fought Pew, he was violently hungover and got it within 300 points. I just think people need to remember that right now. And that's not just because he's on BBK. I think that's actually a narrative that's going to become important in the Pro League very soon. But anyway, that was... You knew Pew had the ability to beat you on the day. Since then, you lose to him twice in the tournament. Since then, you beat Jab, quote-unquote, retired, and then came back in the last event, beat Glocum. So you're already, I mean, you're beating all the other contenders. You're going to end up against Pew again at some point here soon. To end this interview, final question. I don't need inside baseball. That's for you and I to talk about privately. But how do you think, and if so, how does it happen? Are you getting that belt from Pew?
Just got to play better than him. I've got to be playing probably very consistently leading up to it. I mean, I really just got to play better than him. It's not... Me versus Pew isn't going to be like one of them ones where it's like a style matchup. Like, I think we're both just that good, where it's just literally going to be like trading PBs, who lands their crits, who gets slightly more segs. It's going to come down to... It's always going to come down to a few 100 points, I think.
The last time you guys fought, you were a small handful of mistakes away from winning, and that's the best way to describe it at that level, because you're both capitalizing on every possible opening your opponent is leaving, so then you end up, you count mistakes, and that tells the flow of a fight. Rather than, oh, this guy came in with a crazy combo, oh, his footwork was wild. It's just about who didn't get their block and who didn't land their perfectly placed overhand at the exact right time to get the crit knockdown. It's just who was cleaner. That's it. It's not who had the crazy game plan. It's who kept it tight or who kept it clean. That's all it's about at that level. Because everything else is already top level for both of you. So there's not much else to talk about, you know. You both know the right thing to do. You're both going to be doing the right thing 90% of the time. It's just who's you know, 80% versus 90%. Perfect decisions, right? And that's the difference there. But
yeah, especially at that level, like I think Fess can definitely come back and even be competitive again as well.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
I haven't seen him play recently,
people
but I've heard good things. I've also heard that he got right back into another project of work and came back for a singular weekend and hasn't played since then. And that's what everyone's kind of glazing him for. So I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how much it's worth looking into, but he's saying he wants to compete soon. So
listen, he's got 2 wins over Pew, so
and we never got to see you two fight. Your eras did not overlap.
They didn't. People accuse me of retiring to avoid Fest, so that's why I'm looking to get that scalp as well.
Sorry, I don't mean to be biased in the interviews, but that is a little bit hilarious. Anyway, any final words for the people before we cut this interview?
Please cut this out, because I actually do not know what to say.
No, give me something good.
Let me think. Final words for the people were me and Pew are going to run that one back.
Yeah.
We're going to run that one back. Let's get the dub this time. I want Fess, either before or after that. That needs to happen at some stage.
Ooh, what about Fettis' mom? Yeah. No, don't say it.
Listen, I wish
no.
all the best.
Okay,
I wish her all the best.
All right, that is it. There is your interview with Weewarrior. Tune in this weekend, July 26th at 11 a.m. Central Time, which I believe is 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Don't quote me on that. If you want to know the exact time, you join the Drunken Wrestlers 2 Pro League Discord server, which I will also be linking in the description. And you can check the announcements. It'll be automatically converted to your time zone. Subscribe to the Pro League YouTube channel. We got more interviews. We got more events. All of that coming, and all of it's going to get posted here. If you haven't played this game, I don't know what you're doing. Go grab it on Steam. It's $4, and it's a great time. Join the Discord, too. Tap in. We're all lovely, definitely not toxic, and you definitely won't hate everyone you meet there. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.